Hello everybody, I am Red from Send More Robots, and welcome back to Space Engineers. So today is actually Friday. Kind of missed out yesterday because of work and everything like that, but I'm doing the update today so that we can get a better idea of what new and exciting features that have arrived with Space Engineers. So, there's a couple of things that they really did, and I kind of made this room specifically to showcase both of those things. There is one other thing, but that will be shown later because that's kind of a new menu option. So to start with, there's two cockpits right here, and as you know, all of us have built hundreds and dozens and thousands of ships so far. I mean, just go look at the workshop, and there's so many different designs, so many different styles. People have built so much stuff over the short time that this game has been out. And the bigger the ship is, the more cockpits you have, just because you need seating, you need people to kind of man them and set them up and everything like that. And I mean, the biggest issue we all have is when you get into a cockpit, you are not sure who's in control, because it's pretty much whoever gets in first, and that lets you control it. Now they have a new feature. If you go into K, and you look at the flight menu and everything like that, it actually lets you select which is the main cockpit. So this actually has main control. So if this was a ship, this was able to go up, down, left, and right, and all sorts of things, that cockpit would now have full control, whereas this cockpit would basically just be weapons or doors or anything like that, because it no longer, because if you go in here, you can't click it now. So that means, and as you can see right here, main ship cockpit is the flight seat, so it actually is designated that that is the main cockpit right there, and we can turn it off, and then make that the main flight seat. So now I can fly the ship from here, but that is one of the cool things, because it means that if someone's coming to try to jack your ship, no longer can they just come up, put down a cockpit like this, and take your ship and drive off, because it's now owned by them. I've seen a lot of that happen in like multiplayer and stuff like that. A lot of people will just straight up leave games, because I mean, that's how you piracy. It's how it used to be good pirates and everything like that. But now it requires a lot more effort. I mean, you can throw a cockpit on anything, but if it's not considered the main cockpit, this will not fly. This will not move. You'll not be able to take anything. You do have to still grind it down and then retake it then. That still works. But now they're going to be deep within the ship. They're going to be hidden. It's going to be interesting now to see how that works out. So that's the big new thing with cockpits, which is really cool. I really like the way they set that up. It makes a lot of piracy options more difficult, so pirates actually have to rethink how they do things. And it also makes it a lot safer for people to have ships and anything kind of just sitting around now if the main cockpit is hidden well enough. So the next thing to go over in this update is actually the control panel buttons. So if I go up to these buttons, you can't see anything right now, but if I turn my menu on, you can see it says doors. And now these actually have button panel hints. So you can go up to it and you look at what it says. It says the doors. So that actually controls these big doors right here. So if I push that one, look, it obviously opens it. It does that. This closes it. You can actually set these buttons once you get into here. So if you get into here, you can see which buttons are available. And if I go to button 1, we'll do, you can rename them too. So you open doors, and I can rename it. And then this one, we will rename to close doors. So now these two buttons actually have very specific names. So if I look at them now, so this is close doors, and this is open doors, which means now we have buttons that actually make sense, because I can't tell you how many times I put buttons on a ship or something, and then I don't remember what they do or what order they go in, and I have to come back and pretty much relearn my own ship. You can set up actions here. I mean, we all know that setting, but you can have it set up to anyone will use it, which will give them the option to change this. And I mean, if you don't want people to know, like if someone rolls in, you're like, oh, there's enemy support, you can just delete that. And now this button says nothing. It still says open doors, but this says nothing. So it's a cool setup. And if it's an empty button, it just says empty. So then you can load it up with anything that you need for it and make those buttons do whatever you need to do. So now I'm going to show you guys what the next thing for this update is. Alright guys, so this is the last part of this update. It's actually pretty simple, but it's pretty cool too, because it kind of forces survival worlds to be more realistic in a sense, because you know, if you push V, you will get that third-person setting. But now you have enabled third-person view, so if I click that, and let us hop back into that world now. Alright, now that we're back into the world, since I've disabled third-person view, if I'm smashing V right now, I'm pushing the V key now, I can no longer go into third person, which is really, I mean, it's cool for the multiplayer setting. Like I said, it now forces people to be in a more realistic setting all the time, so you can no longer just make ships and completely shield them and cover them and just fly them around in third person instead. Now you actually have to use the cameras and you have to make ships appropriately, so then if you have a ship that is completely covered but you have cameras that cover out the outside, you must protect those sites because they will become blind spots now. But that is it for this update this week, guys. Thank you all for joining me on this one. I am Red from Send More Robots. And as always, remember who you are and what you are. Don't go cause any trouble out there in that crazy, crazy galaxy. And as always, Orbit gum's pretty good. The sweet mint, I really like the sweet mint gum. That's pretty delicious. Bye, guys. Expect it's me, unless you're too far into the game and they see it.